Andy drove 2,000 kilometers or 1,200 miles from Bangkok in Thailand all the way down south to Singapore through Malaysia. It's an epic road trip. Today in this video, we'll hear from Andy on what inspired him to make this trip, his challenges he's faced along the way, and his advice for EV owners thinking about making cross-border trips in Southeast Asia. Click subscribe to stay updated to more videos on Tesla. Andy, what should the audience know about you?
My inspiration. I want to try to challenge that the EV car can drive long range, like across the country or not. And another thing that since I buy this car, I never go to the service center, so I have to consult some consultant here for the car.
Andy got his Tesla Model X 5 years ago, 2017, and the only service center for Tesla in Southeast Asia is currently in Singapore, in Toa Payoh, where we met yesterday. Andy, can you tell us a story about how you got your Tesla?
I got my Tesla 5 years ago. Actually, I just want to change to the new technology, new technology car, and then I found that Tesla Model X very interesting and comfortable and suitable for my life, for my family. Because I choose the option that 7-seater with a carbon option. Yeah.
So this is a huge 7-seater SUV from Tesla. It is not officially available for sale anywhere in Southeast Asia yet. So currently we see the Model X on the road. They are apparel imports. So later in this video as a bonus, I'll speak to Andy about his experience owning a Tesla Model X. Let's start by talking about the road trip. To have full perspectives, I brought a special guest appearance by Goon today, who's been on the channel earlier when we made our Malaysia road trips, because he drove the opposite direction from Singapore all the way up north to Thailand. First question, I'll start with Goon. What inspired your trip to travel across 3 countries on your Tesla?
I believe I gave the whole story in the previous video. To sum it up, it's just to tell people that it can be done. I've done it because there were so many noises around me that say EVs are unreliable, they need to charge frequently, you won't get charging station in Malaysia, you'll be stranded on the road, you have to call tow truck, and I'm not surprised none of that happened to me. I had a good trip and I'll do it again.
Goon made his trip with a Tesla Model 3, his car you see behind us, and it has a real-world range. According to Goon's real-world experience, about 350 kilometers.
Yeah, that's right.
Andy made the trip from Bangkok down south to Singapore on a 2017 Model X. This has a real-world range of 300 kilometers, a slightly tougher ride down south. What inspired your trip here?
I inspired this trip. I also, same as Goon, I want to challenge that the EV car can cross the country or not, and we have to do very hard homework about the charging station in Malaysia. In Thailand it's okay, in Singapore no problem, but what is the concern is the charging station in Malaysia. Yeah.
A lot of homework needed.
Yes.
Why do you want to drive here? Why not take an airplane?
Actually, if you travel by road trip, you can see many things interesting along the trip, along the way, along the road. So, and also I want to consult the service center here, because Thailand still no Tesla service center here. Yeah.
That is true. The only Tesla service center in Southeast Asia right now is here in Singapore, in Toa Payoh. That's where we met yesterday morning.
Yes.
Goon Andy talked about a lot of preparation. Can you share with the audience what are some specific prep you made?
Sure, of course. For this trip, or rather for this time, for the future, we need to do a lot of homework before we embark on an electric road trip. Because it's not like when you're driving a petrol car, you can just find any petrol kiosk to top up, regardless of your preference. For us, we need to go to the next available that's within range. And to complicate things, we have so many providers, so many apps, so many type of payments. For now, I believe in the future it will get sorted out. It will just come under one single blanket payment gateway. And for the trip particularly, or any trip, for any trip including electric, you need to be aware of the local tolls, car parks, and how to get around navigation. Because for Tesla Singapore vehicles, maps that Tesla maps do not work in Thailand. Navigation do not work in Thailand. So you need to have a data SIM phone with navigation like Google Maps or ways to get you around. And of course, you need to figure out parking there. Any tolls, you need to be prepared and how to pay them. Like for Andy, I believe he maybe overlooked or did not know that Singapore runs a cash card to get into the country, pay for parking, and to pay for tolls. So in cases like this, he has to depend on local communities for help. So we have a cash card for him. It's by a local Tesla community. We have this cash card, so I'll just give it to him so that he can get around in
Thank you.
Singapore and hope that he come back to Singapore
Yes.
in his car, of course.
Likewise, when we make the trip up to Thailand,
Yeah.
where we need to use the local EV charging apps, we also need our own local cash cards or top up as well.
Actually, in Thailand now, I think only four main charging provider. You can load this four app. You can cover the whole country of Thailand, like EV station app, Alexa, TEA Water, and EA Anywhere. This only four app you can cover the whole country.
That's why we bring the community together to really help each other make this a smoother journey. Teslas behind us are known for having a lot of software intelligence. Goon was able to use autopilot for a lot of his trip going up north.
Right.
Whereas for Andy, because his Thailand is a apparel import from Hong Kong, and in Thailand we don't have navigation maps yet. So Andy doesn't have the full autopilot experience. So can you tell us, when you drove all the way down, was it mostly manual driving?
Yes, only from KL to Johor. I need to control the battery energy, so I have used the ADAS, the cruise control, to consistently the energy and the energy consumption.
The biggest difficulty in such a long trip, 2,000 kilometers, is EV charging. And some of us have very close calls. Goon, what was your lowest state of charge in your entire trip?
8%.
8%. 8% would translate into roughly how many km for a Tesla?
30-ish km.
30 plus km. So you miss a charger stop, it's quite a turn. Yourself, Andy?
Same. I'm left from KL to Johor. I only left 8% also, and my driving range only 24 kilometer left. So it's scrambling.
Scrambling. So if you miss a charger or there's a long queue in a charger, you need a bit of buffer. Andy was sharing with us a tip that how much buffer should we have when we go to a charging station?
You mean during the travel, right? I found I only have some hard work during on the Malaysia in the Malaysia. First, I cross Thailand border. I have one first charge at the LBI border in Oroseta, and then the second charge in Bukit Kantang. But I drive past the charge station, and then must be turned back. It take another 70 kilometer route. So that the first problem I found, and then the third day when I in KL, I go to the first charge station. I cannot charge it because the software not reaching with my charger mode adapter. So I have to find another second station. But that station, the output only 24 kilowatt. It will take really long time. I am waiting almost 2.5 hours to fill up the battery. So it's wasting the time.
It does take time when we don't have access to fast chargers. And there's still a variety of ports. While most of us have a CCS port, Eddie is mostly using the CHAdeMO port. So he won't be able to use the Tesla superchargers in Singapore yet. So Andy talked about the different availability of public EV chargers. What's your take, Goon, on EV charging network in Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand?
As of now, generally, it is enough to upkeep the current population. But of course, the government is pushing for more chargers to be deployed. That will encourage the uptake of new electric vehicles, and we can welcome new owners. So I believe that these two, the chargers and the ownership, go in tandem. So there is a fair balance right there. Right now, it's good. If I can go to Thailand, Thailand can come to us. It's all good. But of course, like I mentioned, we need a centralized payment, something like what Tesla is doing for us. We just plug in and charge, hands off.
Tesla has done a great job making charging plug and play a seamless experience. No need additional cards, no need extra apps. Just plug and the amount is automatically credited into your Tesla account every month. So there are hopes that Tesla will officially open in Thailand in the near future. We'll have superchargers there. And there are hopes that we may see Tesla superchargers in Malaysia, especially along the highways. When we have that, when Goon, Andy, and any Tesla owner drives cross-border 2,000 kilometers in 3 days, it's just plug and play along the entire trip. Imagine one day in the future when Andy has access to 250 kilowatt charging, a full battery within 25 minutes. Instead of waiting 2 to 3 hours, 25 minutes, you need to eat as well, as Goon mentioned. Your car eats, you eat too. We can't be driving 6 hours non-stop. I think on average you stop. After how many hours of drive do you typically take a rest?
If and when I need to, I don't usually stop. But if I have to, like I have passengers in the car who I want to give them a rest, if it's like 2 hours, 2 hours I make a stop, a toilet break or snack time, 2 hours.
Yourself, Andy?
In Thailand, when we travel from Bangkok to Hat Yai, I have to control my energy that from 25%, not lower than 25%, and reaching 80% on each charge. Because after 80%, the output will be reduced. So I keep it 25 to 80, and then to the next charge, 25, 80, yeah.
And he brings up a great point. Charging an EV is like charging your iPhone. The charging speed is the fastest from 0 all the way up to 80%. Once you hit 80%, diminishing return in charge speeds. So if you really want to maximize your time and your trip distance, just charge all the way up to 80, find the next charger, and continue. In fact, that's how many US Tesla owners and Tesla owners in Europe travel. They just go point to point with the supercharger network, topping up just enough to move along.
One more thing. The reason that I have a 25% reserve, that because when you go to the charging that you plan, if the charging doesn't work, you still have 25% reserve to find another charging. This is what I recommend.
Both Goon and Andy, you've both been huge inspirations. What is understated here is that Andy is the first Thai EV owner that we know of who's made the trip all the way from Thailand to Singapore. So that's a big milestone. Congratulations, Andy. If you know of any other Thai EV owner who've made the trip to Singapore, please let us know down in the comments below. Thank you for both of you for being pioneers, for showing us that the impossible is possible. It will get easier. It will. Any last words for EV owners?
Drive safe.
For me, I hope one day we can drive the EV car everywhere without the charging concern.
We're now inside Andy's Model X. Andy, did your door just close by itself?
Yes. Close by itself, yes.
That's a pretty epic feature available on the Tesla Model S
And also
and X.
when you walk closer to the car, the door will open automatically.
So that's
I don't
pretty
know,
cool.
same as the Model 3 or not. I don't know.
No, we don't get that in the Model 3 and Y. Not yet. So we're here in Andy's car because the Model X is a unicorn in Southeast Asia. We only have 10 Model X in Singapore. One of them is owned by Jermaine. I'll put a link to the video with her on the top in the description as well. Andy, this car is very unique. It's very special.
Yeah.
Instantly, the Falcon Wing doors are something that people notice.
Yes.
The Falcon Wing doors, are they actually a hype or is it really useful?
I think useful when the passenger get in the car is very easy, and also good for someone who never seen it. Very exciting when they see the Falcon Wing open.
Yes. Kids will love it.
Yeah.
And these cars are a bit different from all the Model 3s and the Ys you see in the road here in Singapore. Andy, your car has a vertical touchscreen and it's also got an instrument panel. The Model 3 and the Model Ys don't have them. How do you find using this car without all the buttons, just two screens?
Actually, very easy because you can still control on the steering. You can adjust the aircon, adjust the volume, and look at what do you want to the aircon, right? And then fan speed, and then brightness. A lot of option. You can control on the steering wheel.
What is your favorite part about owning a Model X?
Easy entry, really like it, and the size of the car, because this car 7-seater, I can bring my kid, my wife, all together with my nephew. Sometimes we travel 7 person. Yeah.
It's a big car. This is a UK, Hong Kong parallel import.
Yeah.
For many Model Y owners, one of the common requests is, can we have a 7-seater version? We don't have them yet in Asia Pacific. The Model Ys that you buy in most of Asia Pacific is a 5-seater. So if you look behind, you can see there are 3 seats in the second row, and there's actually 2 more seats at the back that are folded down right now. This for extra cargo storage space. It's a great car for big families. Andy, what is one thing you dislike about the Model X?
Dislike? Actually, I didn't find anything dislike. Only the some technician problem, like the key fob. When the battery die, you replace the new one. The key fob didn't link with the car, so that's only the problem I found. Within 4 or 5 years, I use this car. Yeah.
You've owned a car for 5 years,
Yeah.
since 2017. Do you still get software updates on your
Yes.
Tesla?
OTA update. I think at least 6 or 5 updates along my own.
So that's pretty significant. Some of our phones, after 3 years, we stopped getting updates. For a Tesla,
I
this
think
one,
last update should be 6 months ago, but I cannot remember what option more.
so that's actually pretty impressive.
Yes.
That the support still carries on after so many years.
And one thing that I like for Tesla, they even the car is 5 years already, but the design not change much. We cannot separate which model year of the car. So you buy this car you can use for long time.
Agree. The Model S came out first, it just passed the 10-year mark. Then the Model X, I believe, came out about, I think, 2 years after the Model S. So this design is a 8 years design. But again, Tesla does update it but it's actually quite timeless.
Yeah, I agree.
Many people who have families,
Yeah.
they would probably come to you for advice. Andy, if I need to get the SUV, should I get the Model Y or the Model X? What's your advice?
I think it depends. For me, I like, usually I drive the big SUV, the full size SUV before. So when I change the car, I also looking for full size SUV. Yeah.
And this Model X is a full-size SUV. It is clearly bigger in most dimensions compared to a Model Y. Thank you for giving us an inside look at your
Yeah.
Model X, Andy. Let me show all of you how to get into the third row seats of the Model X for those with a 7-seater variants. You see these buttons here in the seat? So by pressing them, I move them all the way forward. And now I've got space to hop inside. I hop inside, I press the same buttons backwards. And there you go. Third row seats. Very cozy, I think much better for children. Leg room, not that much. And I've got 2 cup holders down here, below me. Head space, it's okay. Even for adults, it's okay. I think this is, if you're taking a long road trip, better for children. For adults, short trips within the city, okay. So Model X is a very spacious car. It's my first time inside the third row seat of a Model X. I hope they come to Southeast Asia and the rest of Asia Pacific soon. Either the Model X or the Model Y, the 7-seater variant. Thank you, Andy, for sharing your epic experience with us. We're so happy to have met you here in Singapore.
Yeah. I'm happy to meet Tesla community in Singapore. Very thank for all of you to recommend me and talk about the Tesla car. So I found something that I never know.
I'm so happy to hear that. The Tesla community is growing. We have 1,200 Tesla owners in Singapore. We have 150 Tesla owners in Malaysia. We have at least 200 Tesla owners in Thailand. This community will grow. I'll put a link down in the video description where you'll find links to the different Tesla owners communities across Singapore, Malaysia, and Thailand. And we do drive up to Bangkok one day, we see some Singapore Teslas one day.
You are welcome.
We want to eat Aroy food. Can you give us one restaurant recommendation in Bangkok?
One restaurant, Mekong Mo Phai.
Mekong Mo Phai.
Yeah.
I'll put a link below.
Very good seafood, and then also the Michelin recommend. Yeah.
Thank you, Andy. Kapun Krap.
If
If you found this video useful, please click the like button, hit subscribe to stay updated to more videos on Tesla.